This is my video on the Soft Digits selfie stick tripod. This particular selfie stick tripod, you can pick it up on Amazon for £7.99, and they do have a voucher deal where you can get 5% off. Now, I'll go around the actual box before I show you the item, what to expect. And obviously it says on here selfie stick tripod for smartphones. We have a line diagram of the selfie stick with a phone in it. We have a QR code that you can scan, which I've scanned, and it's basically some of it is in Chinese, so be aware of that. That's if you get the QR code on there. Now, this particular model is the XT-09S, and it says here at the bottom, universal phone holder. On the side here, it shows you the instructions how to use the Bluetooth remote. Now, this particular Bluetooth remote is not chargeable. It uses a coin cell battery, so I'll come into that later on, explaining that. And on the back here it says remote control, wireless remote control, and then it's got here rotate, 360-degree rotation, can take pictures horizontally, and portrait. And next one is tripod, can be used for super night view, whatever that is, and streamer, shutter, and other shooting. And we have another picture of the diagram of the selfie stick with the phone, and this comes in black, white, red and blue. The one I've got here is the black version. A little reminder at the bottom here, and just a diagram showing you how to take the legs out, how to take the Bluetooth remote out, and how to place the camera into the holder. Now, this is what you get in the box. Obviously you don't get no instruction booklet, because that's all on the box itself. Now, taking this out of the box, straight away it does feel cheap. It absolutely feels cheap. The plastic feels cheap. It just feels cheap. Now, don't let that discourage you, because obviously if you're going on holiday and you just want a selfie stick and it ain't gonna cost much, it's not a bad tripod selfie stick to take. It's just be aware that when you get it, it does feel cheap. The actual hinge where the mount meets the selfie stick here, that feels quite solid, I'll give that. So it does feel quite solid. I'll slightly extend it. Now, the Bluetooth remote is one of the smallest in actual length that I've come across on these selfie stick tripods. It's one of the smallest ones, but one of the thickest. So it's one of the smallest, but it's the thickest. So bear that in mind. Now, going around the selfie stick, we have a large mirror on the back, and this is one of the largest mirrors on the back of a selfie stick I've ever come across. We have the phone holder here, which is spring loaded and rotational, so that's quite good. We have the actual selfie stick itself, but I'll show you when it's fully extended out how it looks. We have the shutter here, and we have the legs of the selfie stick tripod here. Now, just before I show you fully extended how it looks, these legs are absolutely thin. They are thin, and when I mean thin, the actual width of the plastic that makes them up is quite thin. The only thing stopping them from bending is that they got a slight ribbing. As you can see, there's a slight ribbing down each leg, and that's the only thing stopping these from literally breaking. But there is no rubber ends on these at all, and there is no rubber on the actual handle of this selfie stick at all. It's just smooth plastic. To connect the shutter button to your phone, now I'm using my iPhone SE as an example. The shutter button here does not have a light in it. It's the only shutter button that I've come across on all of these selfie sticks that I've ever been reviewing that does not have a light. Now you have to hold down the middle, there's a button on there, and I'll try and get it in focus with the camera on it. Hold down that button for a couple of seconds and it will come up on your phone under Bluetooth. So you go to settings on your phone, then to Bluetooth if it's iOS or an Android phone, then go to Bluetooth. If it's Android, make sure that your phone is visible for all Bluetooth devices, and it will, you hold down the button on this particular shutter button for the selfie stick and it will come up. Your phone will find it. Now it will come up. I will try and get that into focus if I can, but it comes up as Xzone or Xzune 2. It comes up as that. Right, it doesn't even come up as selfie cam. It doesn't even come up as the name of, say, soft digits selfie stick. It don't even come up as that. It comes up as X on, and I hope I get that in focus. 2. I don't know if that's in focus as much, but that's what it comes up as. Once it comes up as that, you connect to it, and then this is connected. So please bear that in mind. There is no light in this particular shutter button. Now I'll go to the back of this. On the back you need the most sharpest nails to get into this shutter button. It is difficult to get in. There's a tiny little hole where your nail's supposed to pring this out, then I say this cover. It is very, very tricky, very, very difficult to get that off. If you do get it off, right, or when you do get it off, it's a CR2032 battery it takes. Now you do get one supplied with it, you don't get a spare. So bear that in mind, you get one supplied but you don't get a spare, but it's a CR2032 battery it takes, and it is really fiddly to take that cover off. Now the mount itself, before I put my phone on, we have rubber here at the bottom and rubber at the top, and once again it is spring loaded, and we have a nice big selfie mirror on the back. It's one of the biggest mirrors I've ever seen on a selfie stick, so I give it that to this company. Now the length of this selfie stick, I don't take the overall length, so I'm not even going to bother from now on telling you the overall length of this selfie stick, because I don't bother with that kind of length at all. I only go by, because, and I'll say this again because I've said in previous videos, I go by, the reason why I don't bother with the overall length, some of the length is taken up with your hand because it's on the handle, because manufacturers tend to measure that length, and to me your hand takes up some of the length there, depending on the width of your hand. That's the handle, and obviously the phone takes up the next length. So I always go by the points here, which is at the top of the handle to the bottom of the mount, and between these 2 points here, this selfie stick extends to 16 inches in length. Now with this particular selfie stick we can go landscape, and by adjusting the phone we can turn it to portrait, and that's upside down. Sorry about that, that's upside down, but you can go into portrait with it, so that's no problem. We can go almost almost 120 back, almost, but we can go quite flat that way. So it's not exactly 120 degrees like so and like so, because as you can see, that's the furthest it will go back. So that is a disappointment. Out of all the selfie sticks, that is a real disappointment. But anyway, we'll press on. One good thing about this particular selfie stick, even though I'll say it first, one good thing about this selfie stick is this particular hinge here is quite stiff. So because it's that stiff, it will overuse. It'll take a long time before that's worn down. There is no notch system in there at all. It's quite smooth. So there's no notch system. So the only thing, it's stiff to turn, but there's no notch system. Now, a disadvantage that I don't like is there's no thumb screw there for your adjustment in there. So be aware, after a certain time, this will wear down and that's it. It'll be useless then. So be aware of that. The stem has one indentation all the way down, one groove for strength, and the stiffness of it in pulling out. Now this pulls out like the old car aerials and relies on friction to keep it out, but the stiffness of this is so-so, very so-so. I wouldn't say it would collapse back in, but it doesn't feel as stiff like the other selfie sticks I reviewed. It doesn't feel that stiff at all. So now we come on to the shutter button again, and this part of the video I always say certain selfie sticks mute the shutter button so you don't get that kind of sound. So if I press that just to demonstrate, you don't get that kind of sound. Now we'll see by pressing this shutter button if it mutes that sound, and it doesn't mute it. So I'll put it into video. As you can see the circle there, I'll try and get it, that's it, you can see the circle, and I'll see if it does mute it, and does it, and records. That's it, and that's it. So it doesn't mute the sound of the shutter button on your phone, so that's great. Right, now for the mirror on the back, because I do get questions from time to time, people saying to me about the mirror on the back. So the mirror on the back is for doing selfies, and you want to use I would say the dominant camera, the not dominant camera, but the better camera then on the back of your phone. This is where this mirror comes in handy, because what it is you can set yourself up in the mirror, and if you look at the mirror, then obviously you'll be looking at the camera there. So that is just for you to set up yourself so you can use the better camera on the back of your phone. So a bit like that. So if you're going to use the better camera, you set yourself up with that mirror on the back, which is quite big. I'll give it that. For soft digits, I'll give it that. It's quite a big mirror. Okay, this is the part of the video where I give my 2 pence worth. I'm going to start off with the disadvantages of this soft digits selfie stick tripod. The plastic that makes up this selfie stick tripod feels really, and a capital R, really cheap. Very cheap. I do not like the handle. It just feels cheap. There is no grip, nothing on this. Even the finish to the plastic doesn't feel grippy at all. There is no rubber ends on the feet itself, and I haven't even bothered to show you how it looks like when it's extended out. I ain't even gone into that part. It's one of the only videos I've done on selfie sticks, and I ain't even bothered to show you how it looks when it's on the floor or on a desk, how it looks, because quite frankly, I would not spend my money on this. I wouldn't. That's why after this video, it is going back to Amazon. The shutter button is one of the smallest but thickest ones I've ever had. It's absolutely thick. To get to the battery in it is so fiddly and tricky. That's just a disadvantage. The stem of it, it's not stiff. It's kind of in between. So which I think in longevity and long usage of this thing, after a while, I think the friction will just give up and it will no longer extend. It will extend out, but it won't hold your phone. Sorry about that, that's my clock. I'll go up again, further up. The actual mount here, there is no kind of, as I'm turning it, there is no kind of clicking into position with this. It's just friction, plastic against plastic, and this will wear out because there is no screw holes. There's a screw inside, but they covered it up, so you can't even adjust it to tighten it, and there's no thumb screw, so forget that. The grippiness of your phone in the mount, that's all right, but the mount feels really cheap, absolutely cheap. And I'd say that's out of all the disadvantages of it. Now the advantage of it is it has a big mirror on the back. I give it that. There's a big mirror. It can go into landscape and portrait. That's quite good. The grippiness of the mount to your phone, and it can take larger phones. So my wife's had a Note phone in there and she's got the latest Note, and that fits in there all right. So large phones like Notes, anything like the Samsung Notes, the XL, what do you call it again now? Sorry, not XL, XR iPhones and Max iPhones, they can all, and the Pro ones, they can all fit in here, no problem. So it can take large phones, it could take small phones like this Apple iPhone SE, it can take that. But, and I'll take my phone out of it. Altogether, personally, I would avoid this particular selfie stick tripod unless you want to give it to the kids. Unless you've got kids, it is suitable for kids. Kids don't mind the quality, they just mind as long as it can do what it can do. So if you're looking for a tripod selfie stick for the kids, you can buy this. But for adults, save your money or look on my other reviews of other selfie stick tripods and spend your money there. This has got to be one of the worst that I've ever come across. Anyway, to wrap this up, if you like this video, if you've got one of these from Soft Digits selfie stick tripod, please let us know down in the comment section what you thought of it, because I could be just wrong, but tell me what you think of it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. Please subscribe. Thanks for watching, and don't waste your money on this. Thanks.